What's up YouTube? Connor and Guns and Stuff bringing you guys yet another video. So what I'm going to talk about today is I have a K rounds inside the waistband traditional holster. This is a left-handed holster because I'm a lefty for my Glock 26. And what I'm going to do is I've been wearing this holster for about 3 weeks now. I've got a pros and cons list, just some things that I can think of that I really like about this holster. There's a couple things I'm really not a fan of, but I'm just going to go for it. And I just want to tell you guys, this is the first Kydex holster I've ever done pros and cons or reviewed, so keep that in mind. There's a few things I might miss. This is the first time I'm trying this, but let's just get right into it. So K Rounds, the company, they're from Washington. They make holsters, they make inside, outside, double pancake holsters, they make a lot of stuff. And I believe this holster here is around 50 bucks. So what you're gonna get for that 50 bucks is this is a handmade holster that is fitted to a real gun. So a lot of Kydex holster companies, they just do molds or injections, and those injections are from plastic model guns. K Rounds uses the real gun. So this holster was made and handmade around a real Glock 26. With a model gun, you might have a few, hundredths of an inch or 10, or you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be a perfect gun. K Rounds does it to the actual gun. This holster is made from Kydex 100, which is the top grade Kydex you have. There's Kydex 100, and there's a Kydex called Kydex T, and it's a lower grade. There's higher grades of everything. K Rounds uses the highest grade Kydex that they can get. Most other companies use a kind of a middle ground, and I will say this, one thing I really like about this holster, I have another holster that I'm reviewing. I'm in the process of reviewing right now, and it is not Kydex 100, and I can definitely feel a difference. It feels easier to bend, easier to manipulate. This thing feels solid. I'm gonna take the gun out of here, and obviously it's not loaded. I'm gonna get this out of the way. So I'm gonna talk about some pros that I think this holster really does a good job of. First off, obviously the most important is the trigger protected, and this trigger is well protected. There's Kydex there. This stuff is pretty thick. I'm not sure if this would deform in the heat, but trigger is definitely well protected. It's a very sleek, slim holster. So as you can see, it's not very big, it's not very bulky. For example, my first inside the waistband holster I bought myself was an Alien Gear, and pretty much you guys know it's a hybrid holster, so it's really big, really cumbersome. This is a super small, slim holster. I think it's 0.8 Kydex, so it's a little bit thicker than some of the other guys, and it's that finer Kydex quality. You've got adjustable retention, which is a little Phillips screwdriver, and I have this, I would say maybe halfway adjusted right now, and my gun's not coming out. It's not just, you really got to pull it out. Sure, if you yank on it, if you just slam it down, but I'm not putting much pressure on that. The gun is definitely staying in there, so the gun stays in place. One of my favorite things about this holster is the Kydex is cut away from the grip of the gun quite a bit, you guys can see. So getting a grip on this thing and getting it out of the holster, not an issue at all. None of that Kydex gets in your way. You can get a full good grip on the gun when you draw it out. That's one of my favorite things about this, I'd have to say, is that cut there. I know a couple of the other holsters I have, they're cut away, not quite as intense as this K Rounds holster. So definitely no problem there. It's got a sweat guard on the side, so this is actually sitting on your body, so your sweat isn't gonna get on the finish of your gun and corrode it or rust it or anything. These straps, you can see here, there's a few different little parts here. You can just unscrew this, and it'll change the belt size. So say I have a pretty thick leather belt, so I have to keep it on this setting here. If you have a skinnier belt, you can just change it and it'll fit nice and snug to your belt. These are handmade and hand fitted for your gun. So example, like with something like a sticky holster, you can use different guns in one holster. These are not like that, so that's kind of a con right there, but you know what you're getting into if you buy one of these. The gun is nice and fitted in there. There's not a lot of movement, so the gun is, again, it's nice and tight in there. It's not going to be moving all over on you. There's a little bit of movement, but not too much. These loops and these snaps are super secure, so pretty much how that works is these are directional snaps, so they're only going to go on this way. They're only going to come off this way, so you can't get it on this way. It's impossible. There's no way. But what that's going to do is it's going to really secure that snap. So if you pull on the holster this way, that is not coming off of the loop. It's not. I'm tugging with a lot of force there. Definitely not coming off. But if you want to get it off from the top, nice and easy, just like that. That's really cool. The one thing that I kind of put this as a pro and a con, there's kind of a learning curve to get this thing off. When I was at the convention and I was talking to the guy about it, that's one of the first things he said when I tried to put it on. He's like, hey man, there's kind of a learning curve to that. And I would agree. It took me a minute to get this on, because especially if you have a thicker belt, you got to really push the buttons up and put them on directionally. So that's kind of a bummer. It's really not a big deal once you get used to it, but just something I noticed. So real quick, going over those pros again, you got a sweat shield here, directional snap, so this thing is not coming off. Nice slim Kydex. It feels really good. There's not a lot of bend to it. It's handmade. It's Kydex 100. It's that really good quality, and that's probably one of my favorite things about this holster. It feels really solid. And probably my favorite thing about this holster is just that the holster's out of the way of the grip. I mean, when I grab this gun, the only part of the Kydex I'm feeling is my finger off the trigger. Super nice. So that's a few pros. So I went over some of the pros I thought about the K-Rounds holster. Now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I would consider a con about this holster. Again, getting it on is kind of a learning curve, because you just got to bend that snap only one way. Not a big deal. Once you get used to it, no problem. This holster pops out a lot when you're sitting. Like, it's kind of a bad angle, but it's not really very snug to your body. And one reason for that is because these loops they're a little bit loose, so I think it's meant to have a little bit of movement. But I'm just used to a holster being, snug on me, no one being able to see it. And this one, there's nothing in the chamber. I'm gonna be kind of pointing the gun at myself here, but so it doesn't really sit snug to your body. Like when I'm sitting down, I remember I went to a restaurant a few times, and I felt like my gun was out, because it was popping out quite a bit. Another thing is, because now this is a Glock 26, so it's got a short barrel, but it's really easy to kind of pivot out of your pants. And again, I'm just gonna, nothing in the chamber there. It's easy to pivot out. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would cause that, but if this thing were to flip out, I mean, it's really easy to do so. But again, this is definitely a pro. Those snaps do not come off. I mean, this thing is on there. I'm tugging on it. There's just a little too much movement for my liking. I'm gonna put the magazine in nice and flush, so the gun was the same size when I was just doing that. And this thing just prints. I mean, it's getting hot out here. I wear t-shirts a lot. If I wear a shirt over it or a sweatshirt, no problem. But this thing just prints, and I don't know if I'm wearing it wrong. I'm just wearing it how I'm comfortable. But this thing definitely prints, and it sits really high. Again, just like I showed you guys, it sits high. It can flip out really easy. It just sits up really high. And Aaron has the same holster, except he has clips, and he said the same thing. He said that it just sits up too high for his liking. Definitely sits up too high for my liking. Has a little bit too much movement to me, and just the main thing is it sits too high and it prints. And with just a regular t-shirt on, for example, like my Alien Gear holster, I can wear that with just a t-shirt and it's fine. This thing, I wear this with just a t-shirt and it's gonna print, which is really unfortunate, because I think the good of this outweighs the features, outweigh the cons, but the cons are pretty big. All right guys, so wrapping up the video here with the traditional inside the waistband holster from K-Rounds. Definitely some pros and cons. One more time, the thing I like most about this is that Kydex is out of the way for your draw. Nothing is interfering with the draw. Nice sleek holster here. 0.8 Kydex, it's Kydex 100, so it's a really good quality, and it feels like it. This doesn't have much movement to it. Super solid. The clips only come off one way, or I'm sorry, the loops only come off one way, only come on one way. Got a sweat guard here, and the only thing is, just to me, when it's on my belt, and I have a nice thick leather belt, it's not like I'm wearing a junky belt, it has a little bit too much movement. It seems to me that it just pops out and prints a little bit too much. I wish there was some way where I could adjust this to lower it down a little bit. That would be perfect. But yeah guys, K-Rounds, check out their website. I'm gonna put a link in the description. Try one of their products, and kind of with guns and stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next video.